Welcome to episode 3 of the how to create a 2D customization menu inside of Unity. This is Noah Khalees, creator of Blackthornprod, and today we're going to set up some basic UI, take a look at the button component, and create our very first script, the changing color script. By the end of the tutorial, our character's head will be changing color. Alright, so we are back inside of Unity. In between videos, I did a few things. First of all, I created a player sprites folder and I placed all the sprites related to the player inside of this folder, as you can see right here. I also created two basic sprites, a square and a red cross. And you can create, of course, these two simple assets using any 2D application. I also created some very basic UIs, you can see right here. I created a head color text, and I also created a simple image UI, and I dragged and dropped my square into the source image slot. I also added to this image a very simple button component, and you could do this yourself by going to the add component button right here and typing in button. What the button component will allow us to do is interact with the image UI and call functions from our script. You can also tweak some settings on this component, such as the highlighted color, which is basically the color our image will take when our mouse is hovering over it in the game view. And you can also change the pressed color. I also created a panel UI that you can see right here, and a cross. And this cross also has the button component on it. And it is parented to the panel UI. What I'm now going to do is click on the head color display square. I'm going to duplicate it, click Ctrl D on my keyboard, and I'm going to place it inside of my panel. I'm going to do that 4 times. And I'm going to grab all these squares and I'm going to drag and drop them inside of the panel. So now they're parented. So now when I move the panel UI, I'll move the cross and these 4 squares. I'm also going to give a color to each one of these squares. The player will be clicking on these squares to change the head color of our character. I'm also going to rename these squares to keep things nice and clean. Alright, now that we have the UI for our head color all set up, we're going to create a new folder by right clicking and going to create folder that I'm going to name scripts. And we're going to create a brand new C# script called the changing color script. And I'm going to double click on that to open up my script editor, which in my case is MonoDevelop. First of all, we want the player to be able to open and close the select color panel. Alright, first things first, I'm going to create a simple GameObject variable that I'm going to name panel. I am then going to create a public function, and I'm making it public so we can after call it from our button. And so I'm going to name it open panel, and when we call this function, I'll make sure that the panel is set to active true, meaning that our panel will be visible. I'm going to then create a second function called close panel, and when this function is called, it'll be called when we click on our cross. We'll make sure that the panel is hidden, so I'm going to write panel.setActive false. Okay, I'm now going to quickly explain how a button works in Unity. So you can see here there is a on-click section to our button component. And there's different things under this on-click. There's this runtime only, just leave that runtime only. Then there's this slot that is usually empty. What you got to do is drag and drop a script, for example the character creation manager script, and then you're allowed to choose a function, and I'm going to choose, for example, the open panel function. What this will do is when we click on this button, it will call this function here from our script. Alright, I'm now going to create an empty game object that I'm going to name to character creation manager, and I'm going to drag and drop my changing color script onto this empty game object. I'm also going to drag and drop my panel game object into that panel slot. I'm now going to grab my square image UI, and under the onClick event I'm going to drag and drop my character creation manager, and going down to the changing color I'm going to click on the open panel. I'm going to do the same for the cross, but this time I will call the close panel. As you can see, when I click on the square button, the panel displays itself, and when I click on the cross, the panel disappears. Alright, we now want our head sprite to change color, so I'm going to make a public sprite render variable, and I'm going to call it head. I'm also going to create several public color variables, for example pink, public color yellow variable, and so on. Alright, I'm then going to create a public int what color variable that I'm going to set to 1, and I'm going to make my update function. And inside this update function I'm going to make several if statements, and these if statements will be checking what my what color variable is equal to, and depending on what it's equal to, I'm going to set my head color to be equal to one of the color variables I made above. For example, if what color is equal to 1, I'm going to set my head color to be equal to pink, and I'm going to do the same for if what color is equal to 2, then I'm going to set my head color to be equal to yellow, and so on. Alright, I'm now going to grab my character creation manager back inside of Unity, and I'm going to plug everything in. So first of all, I'm going to drag and drop my head sprite into the head slot, and I'm going to now set up all my color variables. So what I'm basically doing is making sure that there's no transparency to that color, and then I'm just grabbing my eyedropper tool and selecting the various colors that I've already created for my different square buttons inside of the panel. I'm now going to test this out, so pressing play, everything should normally work just fine, so I'm going to it should normally work. Just joking, guys, it's completely normal. All we need to do is change the value of our what color variable, and to do that I'm going to make several public functions that are going to be called when we click on our different squares inside of our panel. So for example, a public void change head to pink, and when this function is called, our what color variable will be equal to 1. I'm going to also do the same for the yellow color, and so yeah, when this function is called, our what color will be set to 2, and I remind you that in our update function, in our update method, when what color is equal to 2, our head color is equal to yellow. And so I'm going to do the exact same for blue and for gray. All I need to do now is set everything up inside of Unity. So grabbing my pink color square, I'm going to go over to my button component, press this little plus sign, drag and drop my character creation manager object, and choose the change head pink. So now when I click on this pink square, I will be calling the change head pink function. I'm going to do the exact same for the blue button, grey button, and yellow button. Alright, so now I'm going to test our character creation menu and see if everything's working. So collapsing my canvas, I'm going to go over here and press play. So we can see that our panel open and closes correctly. And let's see if these buttons work. So clicking on that, I can see that my head changes yellow. When I click on that, it turns grey, blue, pink, yellow. So it works perfectly fine. However, I noticed one small annoying detail, and I think you've noticed it too, is that, okay, our head changes color when I click on these different buttons, but the square right here remains white and boring. What I would like is that this square here has the exact same color as the head's color. So what we're going to do is go back into MonoDevelop and we're going to add 3 simple lines to our script. I'm going to create another public variable of type image, and you'll see here it's going to throw us an error, and that's because we didn't add the using Unity Engine .ui line of code, and this will enable us to use variables of type text and image and so on. So I'm going to create a public image variable and I'm going to name it to square head display, something like that. And in my update function, I'm going to make sure that the color of this square, so square head display.color, is always equal to the head's color. As simple as that. And so going back into Unity, I'm going to grab my character creation manager and drag and drop my head color display square. And so when I press play, you'll see that this square here has the exact same color as my head color. Alright, excellent. So everything's working really great. And so yeah, that's going to conclude this 3rd video.
Okay, we've reached the end of episode 3 in the how to create a simple 2D customization menu inside of Unity. I hope everything was really clear. Of course, if you have a problem, just ask away in the comment section below and I'll try and answer or give a solution to that problem the fastest possible. If you like the video, it would be awesome if you hit the like button and subscribe so you're notified when new content comes out. In the meantime, stay tuned because a lot of exciting things are coming out on Blackthornprod. And so yeah, I'll see you in a few days for episode 4, where we'll create the script capable of customizing the eyes, mouth and weapon of our character. So see you then guys, cheers!